Good afternoon, everyone. The topic for today class is physiology of cardiac muscle. In this topic, we will discuss today what is the structural organization of cardiac muscle, then structure of cardiac muscle fiber, sarcotubular system, what is the process of excitability and contractility in the cardiac muscle, electrical potential in cardiac muscle, and properties of cardiac muscles. First, come to the structural organization of cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle fiber are stated as that of skeletal muscle and involuntary as that of like smooth muscle. So it share the some characteristic with the skeletal muscle and some with the smooth muscle. They are ribbon like rather than cylindrical, and it inter branched and interdigitate freely with each other. Each fiber is completely separate unit. The branch from the neighboring fiber join together at the point of contact of the two muscle fiber. The membrane of the both muscle fiber fused together and thrown into the extensive enfolding that is called intercalated disc. So this disc form tight junction between the muscle fiber and it do not allow any ion to pass through. The intercalated disc provide a strong union between the muscle fiber and it play an important role in the contraction of the muscle fiber by transmitting pull of one contractile unit along its axis to the next. So it increases the force of contraction. Along the side near the outer border of the intercalated disc, the two adjacent muscle fibers are connected with each other through the gap junction. The action potential passes from one cardiac muscle cell to the other through this gap junction, and it provides the low resistance bridge that thus the cardiac muscle act as a functional syncytium of many cardiac cells. In this way, the cardiac muscle impulse spread throughout the muscle mass quickly that result in the coordinated contraction of the whole tissue. This is the diagram of the cardiac muscle fiber, and it is the intercalated disc where the two muscle membrane join together. Cardiac muscle fiber form two separate syncytia. One is the arterial syncytium and second is the ventricular syncytium. The action potential is conducted from the arterial syncytium to the ventricular syncytium by way of a specialized conducting system. Each syncytium obey all or none law. Because the arterial and the ventricular syncytium are two separate syncytia, therefore the arterial contract a short time ahead of the ventricular syncytium. The structure of cardiac muscle fiber. Each muscle fiber is about 80 to 100 micrometer long and about 15 micrometer broad. The cell membrane of cardiac muscle fiber is called sarcolemma and the cytoplasm is called sarcoplasm. The sarcoplasm is in abundance and contain all the cell organelle and well-developed sarcoplasmic reticulum and a centrally placed nucleus. Each muscle fiber is made up of myofibrils which lie parallel to each other, and each myofibril is 2 micrometer in diameter. Myofibril, it consists of thick and thin filament. So its structure by the electron microscopy is similar to that of the skeletal muscle. Sarcotubular system in cardiac muscle is well developed, like that of the skeletal muscle, and the tubule of the T system penetrate the sarcomere at the Z line. There is only one triad per sarcomere as compared to two triad in the skeletal muscle. This is the diagram that shows the sarcotubular system in the cardiac muscle, and it is the T tubule and it is the Z line. Now the process of excitability and contractility. Cardiac muscle, as it is an excitable tissue, produce action potential, that is the electrical phenomena, and it is when stimulated it responds by the contraction, that is the mechanical phenomena. The event which link the electrical phenomena with the mechanical phenomena constitute the excitation contraction coupling. Now electrical potential in cardiac muscle. Resting membrane potential of normal cardiac muscle fiber is -85 to -95 millivolt. It is negative interior with reference to that of exterior. Action potential. When cardiac muscle fiber is stimulated, it shows an electrical activity called propagated action potential. It is different from the ECG. The action potential recorded from single cardiac muscle fiber is very long, and it is divided into the 5 distinct phases. Phase 0 is the rapid depolarization, and it is characterized by the depolarization that proceeds rapidly and overshoot is present. The depolarization lasts for about 2 milliseconds, and amplitude of the potential is reaches to +20 to +30 millivolt, that is positive interior with reference to exterior. It is due to rapid opening of the voltage gated sodium channel, and this leads to the rapid influx of the sodium ion. At -30 to -40 millivolt, calcium channel also open, and it leads to the influx of the calcium ion that also contribute to this phase 0, and duration is 2 millisecond. Now next phase, that is phase 1, is the initial rapid repolarization. In this the membrane potential reaches from 30 millivolt to -10 millivolt. It is very short lived, and it is due to closure of the sodium channel and opening of the potassium channel, and that result in the transient outward current. Phase 2 is the plateau phase. It is in cardiac muscle fiber remain in depolarized state. The membrane potential fall very slowly, only to -40 millivolt during this phase, and the plateau lasts for about 100 to 200 milliseconds. This plateau in the action potential in cardiac muscle fiber explain 5 to 15 times longer contraction of the cardiac muscle as compared to that of the skeletal muscle. It is due to the slow influx of the calcium ion resulting from the opening of the L-type calcium channel and closure of the inward rectifying potassium channel. Phase 3 is the repolarization. In this phase, complete repolarization occur and the membrane potential fall to approximately resting value, and this phase lasts for about 50 milliseconds. It is due to closure of the calcium channel and opening of the delayed outward rectifying potassium channel. Phase 4 is the resting potential. In this phase of the resting membrane potential The potential is maintained at minus 90 millivolt, and it is also called polarized state. It is due to inward rectifying potassium current, and also major contributor is it is also sodium potassium ATPase pump. Duration of action potential is about 250 millisecond at the heart rate of 75 beat per minute, and this type of action potential duration of action potential decrease with the increase in heart rate. Suppose there is heart rate is 200 beat per minute, then action potential duration will be 150 millisecond. This is the various phases of action potential and ion conductance. It is the phase 0, phase 1, 2, plateau phase, phase 3 and phase 4. Now come to the excitation contraction coupling phenomena in cardiac muscle. Excitation contraction coupling refer to the sequence of events by which the excited plasma membrane of the muscle fiber lead to the cross bridge activity and by increasing sarcoplasmic calcium concentration. The sequence of events during excitation contraction coupling of the cardiac muscle fiber is similar to that of the skeletal muscle. In this, except that the strength of the cardiac muscle contraction depend on the calcium concentration in the extracellular fluid. What happened in cardiac muscle? Extra calcium ion diffuse from the sarcoplasm from T tubule, without which the contraction strength would be reduced. The T tubule of the cardiac muscle contain mucopolysaccharide which are negatively charged, and it bind with the calcium ion. T tubule open directly to the exterior, so calcium ion in them directly come from the extracellular fluid. Now come to the properties of the cardiac muscle fiber. First property is the automaticity. It is the capability to contract even in absence of the neural control. The ability to initiate a heartbeat continuously and regularly without external stimulation. Second is the rhythmicity, that is chronotropism. It is the heartbeat are extremely regular. Third is the conductivity or dromotropism. It is the ability to conduct excitation through the cardiac tissue. Fourth is the excitability, that is the ability to respond to a stimulus of adequate strength and duration by generating a propagated action potential. Fifth is the conductivity. It is inotropism. It is the ability to conduct excitation through the cardiac tissue. First three, automaticity, rhythmicity and conductivity, will be discussed later in the chapter. Now come to the excitability. It is the property by which the tissue respond to the stimuli. It is also called bathmotropism. The cardiac muscle respond by the development of the action potential. The characteristic of the cardiac muscle excitability, it needs a special emphasis on the refractive period. What is the refractive period? It is the period following action potential during which the cardiac muscle does not respond to any stimulus. The cardiac muscle has a long refractive period. It is around 250 to 300 millisecond in the ventricle and 150 millisecond in the atria. It is of two types. One is the absolute refractory period. In this period, the cardiac muscle does not show any response at all. It extends from the phase 0 to the half of the phase 3 of the action potential. Normal duration of the absolute refractory period in the ventricle is 180 to 200 millisecond. Relative refractory period. During this period, the muscle shows response if strength of the stimulus is increased to maximum. It extends from the second half of phase 3 to the phase 4 of the action potential. Normal duration of relative refractory periods in ventricle is about 50 millisecond. What is the significance of long refractory period in the cardiac muscle? The cardiac muscle fiber is refractory to any stimulus during the contraction phase, that is the systole. Therefore, the complete summation of contraction, thus tetanus cannot be produced in the cardiac muscle. So this property is very useful. As you all know that heart has to function as a pump. In relaxed state, it get filled up with blood and then contract to pump out the blood. So if tetanus occur, a tetanized heart would not be able to pump, so it will be useless. Now come to the contractility. It is the ability of the cardiac muscle to actively generate force to shorten and thicken to do work when sufficient stimulus is applied. Mechanical response in cardiac muscle fiber, it begins just after the start of depolarization and lasts about 1.5 times as long as the action potential. So, in cardiac muscle fiber, the mechanical response overlaps the electrical response for the whole period. This is in contrast to the skeletal muscle fiber, in which the mechanical response begins a few milliseconds after the end of the repolarization and lasts for 30 to 50 milliseconds in the mammalian skeletal muscle. Characteristic feature of the myocardial contractility and factors that affect it are all or none law, staircase phenomena, summation of subminimal stimuli, effect of preload, effect of afterload, then effect of iron and temperature. All or none law. The response of cardiac muscle to a stimulus is all or none in character. That is, when a stimulus is applied, either the heart will contract or does not contract at all. So this is because of the syncytial arrangement of the cardiac muscle fiber. The all or none law in heart is applicable to the whole of the functional syncytial unit, either the entire atria or entire ventricle. Whereas in skeletal muscle fiber, it is applicable only to a single muscle fiber. Second is the staircase phenomena or TRAPPE. It refers to the successive increase in the force of cardiac contraction in first few contraction. In the force of cardiac contraction in the first few contraction, after the quiescent heart start beating, as seen after the vagal stimulation. It is because of the beneficial effect. Cause of beneficial effect: there is progressive increase in the calcium concentration in the sarcoplasm due to increase in the calcium influx with each action potential. This produces a progressive increase in the strength of the first few cardiac muscle contraction. Summation of the subminimal stimuli. When a subthreshold stimuli is applied to the quiescent heart, there is no response. But when subthreshold stimuli are applied repeatedly at an interval of 1/2 to 1 second, there occur a contraction of the heart after 10 to 20 stimuli. This phenomena is called temporal summation of the subminimal stimuli. Effect of preload. A load which starts acting on the muscle before it starts to contract is called preload. The preload increases the initial length of the muscle. According to Starling law, the force of contraction is the function of the initial length of the muscle fiber. So, up to the physiological limit, the greater the initial length, greater is the force of contraction. In the heart muscle, the end-diastolic volume forms the preload. So, this effect of changing the end-diastolic volume on the force of cardiac contraction was studied by the Frank and Starling. The Frank-Starling law, it states that within physiological limit, the force of the cardiac contraction is proportional to the end-diastolic volume. Now, effect of the afterload. Afterload, it refers to the load which acts on the muscle after the beginning of the muscle contraction. The afterload affecting the force of contraction of the cardiac muscle is represented by the resistance against which the ventricle pumps the blood. So the afterload for right ventricle is the low in pulmonary artery due to its intrathoracic location. The afterload for the left ventricle is high in the aorta due to resistance to the blood flow through the aortic valve and systemic blood vessel called peripheral resistance. This is all about the properties. Thank you.